Hey, it's John. Welcome back to the show, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Live Cuts. The premise of this series is to talk about live albums that don't get enough love or recognition. Before we get into our album, let me introduce our distinguished guest today, making his first appearance on John the Music Nut. You no doubt know him from his work on Grant's Rock Warehouse, where I met him, as well as Slogan's rock and metal extravaganza. Webb Vandiver, welcome to my show.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure and honor to be here and to talk about a band that I've loved for, wow, maybe 35 years or maybe more. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you, and the pleasure and honor is all mine. And I've been with this band for as long as you, but maybe not a huge fan, but always been a fan.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about a band today, one of the greatest bands in progressive rock. And a lot of people don't call them progressive rock, but if you look at their catalog, they really are, because they have put their toes in a variety of genres. They have made concept albums. They have made albums with one song that were highly successful in the 1970s. They certainly were very successful. We're going to talk about Jethro Tull with their first live album released on September 22nd, 1978 on Chrysalis Records, Bursting Out Jethro Tull Live. This was recorded on the Heavy Horses tour, and their Dean Anderson, the leader of Jethro Tull, has never said where all these performances came from, but a lot of them are from a show in Bern, Switzerland, including the introduction of Jethro Tull on the album. This hit number 21 in the United States and went gold, number 17 in the United Kingdom and went silver, went to number 24 in Canada and went gold, and also charted number 20 in Australia. So, Webb,
Hmm.
what was your introduction to Jethro Tull's music?
I think what happened is, okay, so my first favorite band was Kiss when I was like 7 and 8, 9 years old. And then I think I kind of went into maybe when I was 15 or 16, well, actually about 14, I started liking Rush. And then maybe it was Zeppelin and Maiden. And then by the time I was maybe 17 or 18, and I was really playing the drums a lot and I was loving music, my mom, who's a cool mom, she said, "What do you know about Jethro Tull?" And I said, "Well, I know Aqualung, I guess. I know that really badass riff, and I remember it gets like acoustic and it's a cool song." And she said, "You ought to listen to it. You ought to, you got a lot of CDs. Just buy yourself, get Aqualung." And I did, and went off to college probably and started listening to that a lot, and didn't really like. I mean, I liked it, but it didn't like, I don't know if I was too much into some other stuff, but maybe it was so British, or maybe it was some of the, I loved it, but it didn't like, I didn't really get into it until we went off to college, and me and a few friends who would sit around and listen to music and drink beer and do things that you do in college.
Right.
And we really dove into Toll, and by that time I started buying more CDs, and I mean, I had Benefit, and actually, I think, look at this. So I'll just go ahead and show you this. So this
Sure.
is okay. So here we got Aqualung. That was the first one I had, and loved all the acoustic stuff. I love how it flowed. I was like, I never heard an album like this. I never heard, yep, where it just started rocking. I don't have any of the cassettes. It was just all this. 'Cause I got a CD player in like 87, and I started when I was 17, 18 when I graduated. Anyway, so I got that. Then I was like, okay, come on. You got to get thick as a brick. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, see. And I was like, what? What is this? We would sit around and just get in a good state of mind and listen to Thick as a Brick, and oh my God, it was just so fun. Then Living in the Past, which was a comp, and I don't even know if I knew it was a comp. I mean, I was just like looking at the songs, and those were kind of different and had more of the bluesier feel and had some live stuff. And God, we were listening to Tull all the time. It's like Zeppelin and Tull just every night. Then Stand Up, their second release, the first one with Martin Barr, right? Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. And then Benefit, we really loved Benefit. It was a little heavier. It had like To Cry You a Song, which is just what a kick-ass song. And just all the mix of acoustic and that folkiness and no one sounds like Tull. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you don't have a band that can rock like they do the prog thing, and then have that kind of medieval, that British sound to it. And with the
Right.
flute, it's unbelievable. Then, of course, Minstrel in the Gallery, which is usually in my top one or two because it just Barrymore Barlow is, oh my God, he just kills me on the drums. Clyde Burr was good. He was very good.
Clyde Bunker.
Clyde Bunker was good. And he's on those first, he's all the way up through Aqualung. And of course, I mean, those are just classic albums. I love what he does. But Barrymore Barlow just took it to another level. Very busy drummer. I'm usually like laying back in the pocket and stuff, but man, I can listen to him. Okay, so I got this one. I don't like it as much as all the other ones, but there are 4 or 5 good songs on here. Probably didn't listen to this one too much. But hey, it's good. And then Songs from the Wood. And then that's like I never got anything after this. I didn't get Stormwatch. My Me and 2 or 3 friends that really loved Toll, we all had different things, like he had a best of or original masters and things like that. So between all of us, we had enough Toll and never looked at Bursting Out. I don't know why. Just never paid attention to it. And I wish we had, but I'm glad that I found it now, and I'm glad that we're here to talk about it. So Toll's just been, I probably don't go more than a few weeks without listening to Toll. So they're still in my top 5 bands
Oh,
to this day.
nice.
Yeah. In 2025, they're still in my top 5. So
Excellent.
yeah.
So those cassettes that I was showing while you were showing your CDs were my first Jethro Tull acquisitions. And I bought them when I was, oh God, 14, 15 years old from
Yeah.
RCA Music Service.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I had a little bit of an interest and I picked up, well, I'll take this out of the case here so we don't have any glare. Something I learned from Davey Creedson.
Mm-hmm.
20 years of Jethro Tull.
Yes, my best friend had that.
They had a 5 CD box set they put out in 88, but I
Okay.
just want to get my feet wet. So I bought the single disc.
Mm-hmm.
This one's pretty cool because you get a lot of rare stuff. You got a lot of B-sides and things like
Yeah.
that. Not too many of the classics on here, but it still gives you it's a great introduction to the band.
Does that one have like March the Mad Scientist and all that stuff?
Yes. Yes.
And oh, see, all those songs were so cool. That's what I remember. We really like listened to those songs because we knew all the other ones. What else is down there at the
I love
bottom?
Summer Day Sands.
Summer Day Sands. Yes. Oh my God, that's a beautiful song. Beautiful song.
Yeah, so this was my intro. Well, not
Yeah.
my intro, but I want to go
But
deeper.
yeah.
And then right around this time, they're playing them a lot on classic rock radio, Rock
Hmm.
107, WEZX FM, Scranton,
Hmm.
Pennsylvania, is still locally owned and operated. They would play Aqualung, they would play Locomotive Breath, but they'd also play Nothing Is Easy,
Yeah.
Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. And then they were still putting out new music at this point. So we were hearing Steel Monkey off of Crest of a Knave.
Hmm.
We were hearing Kissin' Willie off of Rock Island. We would hear
Right.
This Is Not Love off of Catfish Rising,
Hmm.
which got me to buy this 2 disc box set. And they call these Fat Boys now.
Yep. Oh, is that what they call them? Okay.
Fat Boys. Well, I heard Grand Kelly say it, and then I've heard
Okay.
a lot of people say it since then. And this is a wonderful overview. This came out in
Mhm.
93. And this goes through their entire career, right through the Catfish Rising album. Now, the last few albums, the last 2 albums, are only giving you one song a piece. And they only
Right.
put one off of Heavy Horses, but they put 3 off of songs from the Wood, and a lot of stuff from the early albums. So
Hmm.
this was as far as I'd go.
Hmm.
I picked up Bursting Out when Webb said, asked if we should talk about this one. And I said,
Yeah.
certainly, because it's one that I've never heard anyone discuss. And
Yeah.
I knew of the album, that it was a double album. It was released during the time when we had so many great double live albums, but you'd never hear Bursting Out ever get discussed.
You're right. Totally. Exactly. It's like it got lost or something, or just lost in the shuffle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so I was thinking this would be perfect for the live cut. So let's go into the album.
Hmm.
And as you know, we do a free form discussion on here. We don't go track by track. I don't want to bore the pants off of you. So, anyway, I try not to anyway.
Yeah.
So, the musicians on this album, which I should have said before, Ian Anderson on vocals, flute, acoustic guitar, Martin Barr on electric guitar, mandolin, and marimba, John Evan on piano, organ, accordion, and synthesizers, Barrymore Barlow on drums and glockenspiel, David Palmer on portative pipe, organ, and synthesizers. I believe he plays saxophone on here too. I don't
I
see it.
think I think yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And John Glasscock on bass guitar and vocals. John Glasscock is no longer with us. He died a
Yeah.
year after this album. He had a bad
Oh,
valve in his heart.
yeah.
Yes. So,
And that, yeah, and that a little fun fact, as DC would say, is Barrymore Barlow and him got really close, just really good friends. And when he passed, it really affected Barrymore. And that was one of the, and Stormwatch was the next studio album they did. And then I think he was just kind of, it really got him depressed. And that's one of the reasons he left the band. So, yeah.
yeah. And then right after that album, I believe David Palmer and John Evan were out of the band too,
Hmm.
whether they were fired or they left on their own accord.
Right.
Left just Ian and Martin with several other musicians that would be hired. And they changed their sound with the A album going
Yeah.
forward for a little while. They were relying more on synthesizers instead of
Hmm. Yeah.
more on them instead of stringed instruments.
Right.
So let's go through the tracks here. What I really like on this album is we're getting a great representation of their career on here. So this is on the Heavy Horses tour, so we're getting couple songs from Heavy Horses.
Hmm.
We're getting 3 songs from the Wood. We're getting a nice variety here, and then
Yeah.
we're getting songs from Aqualung near the end. You're going to put your most popular songs near the end of the show.
Oh
But
yeah.
another thing that I read was this was the set list throughout the tour. This is what
Yeah.
Ian says in the liner notes on this version. And by the way, this is the 2004 2 CD version that
Hmm.
I am discussing today.
Right. Right.
We may go into another version very, very shortly.
Maybe a little later. Yeah, we'll touch on it.
Exactly. Okay, so I like how this album starts out really, really heavy.
Oh yeah.
When they play the heavier songs on here, they're bringing just the right amount of beauty to the folk songs. But when they're going heavy here, they're really hitting these songs really hard with No Lullaby into Sweet Dream. No Lullaby was
Oh.
the opener on this tour, and that was off of Heavy Horses. And Sweet Dream, I believe, was a single it wasn't released on any of their
It
projects.
was a non-album single recorded during the stand-up sessions. And but it was a fan favorite and a band favorite. They played it a lot. Yeah, it's a good song.
Another thing that I noticed about this album is there's a lot of popular songs from their canon, but not necessarily the chart singles.
Hmm.
Their biggest
Yeah.
hits, Living in the Past. The
Yes.
second biggest hits, Bungle in the Jungle.
Yeah.
They were both top 15 singles here in the United States. However, it doesn't feel like they're missed because everything here is such top quality and there's just
Yeah.
a very strong cohesion here. And I know a lot of these songs were recorded from different shows, and sometimes you could tell when there's a splice. Uh,
Yeah, it was a collection of various shows and all throughout Germany and like you said, Switzerland, I think, and things like that. It's kind of a yeah, put together from a lot of shows. Yeah.
Skating away on the thin ice of a new day, I think, is a wonderful version. That's when we get our band introductions on here as well. We got Martin on marimba, Martin Barre on marimba.
He's such a good, after I will say I saw them twice. Maybe I'll get into it
Oh
a
yeah,
little more later, but he's such a showman. I mean, Ian he's you just sit there and you just look at him when you're seeing him live. And if you're watching a live DVD or something and you're watching video, he just pulls you in. He drop visually and the way he just speaks to the crowd. I mean, it's no wonder that they did so well with their live shows and they got such good reviews and everything. Yeah.
and what I was noticing on this tour, even though you have a lot of other genres gaining a lot of traction, particularly punk and
Hmm.
disco and that California sound of the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
still playing multiple dates at the Spectrum and Madison Square
Yes.
Garden, New York City, and they're still playing big arenas throughout the United States. So they didn't,
Yeah.
maybe their albums weren't selling nearly as much, maybe they weren't on the radio as much, but they were still a very wildly popular band, and
Oh, I know.
their fans were always coming out to support them.
I was gonna in the inflated version in the book, it has some of the tour date. It has all the tour dates in Europe, and then it has a poster of some of the American dates. They played at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. They played it. Then it breaks it down even more. And you're right when you said they played multiple nights. I mean, they played like 3 nights like you said, 3 nights at the 2 nights at the Spectrum, 2 nights at the Garden, 2 nights at Madison Square Garden, 3 nights at Madison Square
We're talking
Garden.
Boston Garden there before.
Yeah, Boston Garden before, and then they played 2 nights at Cobo Hall. They didn't come to Atlanta. Oh man, they didn't come to Atlanta. They came to Memphis and they came to Huntsville, Alabama. Why didn't they come to Atlanta? Maybe something didn't work out. But I mean, and then they went back to the Civic Center, Richfield. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, they were wildly popular. They were still selling out arenas. Yeah.
And how close are you to Huntsville?
To where?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, like 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah, it's not super close, but
Ah, they didn't play the Omni. Ah,
I don't know why they didn't play the Omni. That's the first place I saw them. Maybe it was a scheduling conflict. I was very disappointed to look through the tour list and it didn't say the Omni. The old Omni.
there you go.
Mhm.
I really like, and in the early part of this concert, they're hitting a lot of stuff from those later albums I mentioned.
Right.
Oxford Wood, Heavy Horses. I think the version of Jack and the Green, or Jackson the Green, as Ian would say,
Yes. Yeah.
and Brown Mouse, I think, are very, very strong.
Oh yeah.
And Songs for the Wood, those harmonies
Hmm.
are impeccable on there. So
It's amazing. They're so well rehearsed. And I wrote down just to kind of jump in and talk about a couple of the songs. I wrote orchestrated mayhem is what I think Toll is. Like they're so professional and it's all it's rehearsed, but yet it doesn't feel stiff. It's like after reading through some of this, this was really cool. Ian Anderson said that they did a 45-minute sound check for every show. That's a long sound check.
that
And so
is.
they made sure that they were on point. They made sure that, working out all the kinks with the sound, but they also were rehearsing the songs and to have it as it just, they're so professional, but yet they look like they're loose and, they're not rigid, right? And I just thought that was cool. And then he said they didn't have a lot of opening acts because and it just seems like Ian Anderson is this kind of guy.
Yes.
They like to do he said we would do a 45-minute rehearsal every show and then I would want to start the show 90 minutes after we finish the soundtrack. and not 3 hours. So if you have an opening act, they have to sound check, then they go on, and then it was 3.5 hours after sound check before they would play. And he said he did not like that. He's very regimented guy. And
Always.
yeah, it is the drums in No Lullaby is some of the coolest drums you've ever heard. You don't even have to
Oh
be,
gosh.
oh my God. I mean, those, when it does that, doom, doom, I mean, I had never heard anything like that. And I've listened to so much music, and I was blown away by that. And I can just listen to Barrymore Barlow just drum on anything. And I was to open up the album, like you said, with No Lullaby. It's just what a way to start. And Skating Away instantly became one of my favorite songs when I first heard it, especially with the on the studio version where he's making his tea. Where you hear him in the
Yeah,
kitchen and he's humming, and you hear him hitting the side of the coffee cup with his
right.
spoon, and it's like really hits you right in the ears. You're like, oh my God, I'm there. I'm sitting. I feel like I'm sitting there with Ian Anderson while he's drinking his tea. Um, it's kind of weird how they went right into like, the No Lullaby is just ferocious. Sweet Dream, they play it well. They love the song. You can tell they're having fun playing it. And then they go into the acoustic stuff, like third song in. I don't know if you, when I listened to it, I was like, it seems like they would kind of maybe do like, 4 or 5 rocking songs and then go in, but hey,
Usually.
whatever they did, it worked. Yeah.
Yes. And these are in the exact order that they played them on the tour too.
I'm
But I
glad you checked that. I did not check that because I was wondering. I was wondering. So,
and he
yeah.
said, and Ian says it on the liner notes too, because he goes, I was going through all of these tapes for the tour, even though we were going through the same set list every single night tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always the same set list.
Well,
Maybe one. I was checking Setlist FM. There might have been one or two changes at the beginning, and that was about it. But
hmm
Setlist FM isn't always accurate either. So
Right,
I might just defer to Ian on that if he's saying it's the same set list every night.
right.
I really dig the instrumentals on here.
Oh yeah. It's a
Conundrum in
showcase.
particular.
It's a total showcase for the band. They are just top shelf musicians, all of them.
And strong enough that Conundrum wasn't released on a studio album. This should have been, in my opinion, this could fit right in
Oh
on
yeah.
Stand Up or Benefit or Aqualung. I mean, Aqualung is a near perfect album as it is.
Right.
But this would have fit in right into those musically.
hmm Yeah, and that was written just by probably a jam session, and it says written by Martin and Barrymore. So they just probably started jamming something, and he started playing along with it on the drums, and they said, okay, this is when you're going to do your drum solo. And I mean, wow. Yeah, that drum solo was just so kick ass. I'm like, whoa, love it.
What do you think of the version of Thick as a Brick?
I like it. I mean, they think about it. Okay, so that album went number one. That Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, probably Living in the Past, or probably their most, and maybe Locomotive Breath, or probably the most. I know Bungle in the Jungle was a big hit, but those four are probably like their most recognizable
Yes.
songs, I think, to the general public, wouldn't you think? And think about how many times they played it, and think about how it's just laid out and how it's written out, and they would take it and just have to figure out, okay, we're going to do like 2/3 of it, right? Or what parts are we going to do? And I think what they did here, I mean, I think it sounds great. When I saw them live, I don't know if this was like the 13, because I think it says it's like 13 minutes or something like that. And
That's correct.
yeah, I don't know if they would change it up and like sometimes do another part. I mean, probably not on this tour, obviously, but maybe in later tours they might have put different parts in. I don't know, but I think I wrote that they delivered it well. I love the little funky doom 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 section in the middle, and I wrote that Martin Barr's solo is sizzling, scorching, and shredding. Yeah,
It's funny you mentioned that because that was where I was going.
yeah.
Interplay
hmm
between Barrymore, Ian, and Martin during
Yeah,
that solo is sick.
it
They
is.
are playing off of each other, but it's a locomotive. It is so powerful,
It is.
but yet so musical. You're like, wow, this is a fantastic band.
And you don't, and like a lot of people, if you don't give the band, if you don't give them the time and you just know the radio songs and you're impressed by it, but you got to hear them live. And like you said, that interplay, you can tell that they're listening. The sign of a good band, especially if you've got five or six people on stage, is listening to each other, right? Not just playing your part. And then maybe Martin Barr goes and does some guitar line that he didn't do the night before, and then Barry goes, I'm gonna follow that with a drum fill, and then Ian follows it with a flute. It's just it's unbelievable to listen to him go.
No doubt about that.
Yeah,
The flute solo after they do an abbreviated version of A New Day Yesterday, and I would have preferred that they stretched out A New Day Yesterday. Personally, I
me
do
too.
like their blues sound,
Mhm.
their early blues albums. I really enjoy.
Oh yeah, Stand Up's got so many great songs. I mean, New Day Yesterday is a killer song. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think of the flute solo improvisation that goes in there? God rest ye, merry gentlemen, into Boree. Boree is
Yeah,
one of their popular songs too.
right. Of
A
course,
lot of
everybody
artists
knows that
may
guitar
not know
line.
that's a Jethro Tull song.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. I would have, to be honest, I would prefer them to have some other one of their great songs mixed in.
I
What?
felt the same way. As much as
Yeah.
I love Ian's flute playing,
Hmm.
I would have liked another banger on here. I wouldn't mind a title song from Heavy Horses here, to be honest.
Yeah. Or something off Benefit. I don't know if anything from Benefit's on here. I don't know if anything's on, I
I
don't
was
know.
reading that they said they hit everything, but now that I'm looking at it, maybe there isn't.
There
Unless
isn't.
Sweet Dream was on the extended version of Benefits. If
Well, Sweet Dream, it's either that or Stand Up, and I could have it wrong. So it maybe that's, yeah. I mean, I don't see anything from Benefit, and I love that album. But I'm like you, I totally agree, John, that the flute solo is cool, and they kind of do some jamming there, and it's maybe he thinks that people are showing up to hear some of him do that. But man, I would have preferred one of the rockers. I would have, yeah,
I would have in that spot myself. Hunted Girl, which
yeah.
is from that is from Songs from the
Songs,
Wood.
yeah,
Another
Songs from the Wood,
standout track
yeah.
on here, I believe, as well. Excellent.
Hmm. And oh, I wanted to note that Songs from the Wood on the original release is only it's an edited version. It's only uh like 3.5 minutes, and on the inflated it has the 5.5 minute version.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so that was there was a few things added, and one of them was a Living in the Past instrumental, which is kind of cool actually. So he does the vocals on the flute. So he's singing the vocal lines on the flute. And it's this kind of a rocked up version of it. But they do that's on there, and then a full version of Songs from the Wood, which has a little bit more of that jamming section where they're just really going off. So I wish they could have fit that on the original release.
Speaking of that inflated edition,
Hmm.
let's let's hear about that. I don't own it myself, but one
Okay.
thing that Webb and I were saying off screen, well before we pressed the record button today, was comes to remastered editions or box sets. Jethro Tull's hard to beat. They got
Yeah.
so what they're putting out is so these beautiful books for each
Yes.
of these albums. They are putting out books that have 3 CDs, 3 DVDs. We got the Steven Wilson remix on many of those. And we
Hmm.
have some live concerts as well.
We've got the 78 Madison Square Garden from, yeah, October 9th, 1978. And it has a different bass player. So John Glasscock had already been sick and had to
Right.
take some time off. And Tony Williams played on bass. And can't remember who Tony Williams played with, but he was a friend of the band, and you can't really tell a difference. I mean,
Okay.
they rehearsed the songs, and I mean, they're so well rehearsed that you couldn't tell just by listening that it was a different bass player. It sounded like he fit right in. And it's pretty much the same I'll look through it. I think it's pretty much the same set list, but this inflated edition is awesome. It has I mean, I'm not going to sit here and flip through all these pages, but I mean, look how small the print is. And I mean,
Right,
it's
right.
just, it's an interview with Ian at first, and he talks about the tour, and it's really informative. And I got about 10 pages in, and that's all I read. But then it even has some interviews with two of the roadies
Oh,
that were
nice.
with him. Oh man, I can't wait to get to that. And then it talks about all sorts of, I mean, it's just chock full of just so many great pictures. I mean, they put some time into this, and they put some money into it. And there's like a poster, I probably get the glare, but um of the bursting out. This is on tour. That's the American tour, like a little poster. It does, and it only has some of the dates. It doesn't have all of them on this
Right.
poster.
Yes.
Um, it's just so cool. And then it just has, of course, a ton of pictures. And I could sit here, we'd be here 2 hours if I went
Yeah.
through it. It has a picture of the Pittsburgh Civic Arena right there. I don't know if you can.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wow. And then, of course, it has DVDs. So it has the DVD of, I think, of the Madison Square Garden show. So I don't have a DVD player anymore, though.
Oh,
So
you don't? Ah, okay.
I don't know how I'm going to watch it. That's one of the reasons I was like, do I need to buy it? Because I don't even have a DVD. But I'll watch it one day. Because, it's just the visual aspect of Jethro Tull, like I said, this adds to it. The audio's enough. You're blown away, but then you mix it with when you're watching them do it, and it's just like, wow, these guys are masters.
Well, I believe it on that set as well as a lot of them. They have the DVD with the surround sound.
Okay.
That's all audio, and then you got the concert as well. That you got the video of it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and there's a lot of sound checks. So remember I talked about how they do a 45
Right.
minute sound check in it, and in the interview he talks about that. So you get No Lullaby sound check, Sweet Dream, Heavy Horses, Botanic Man, and Four Wheel Drive that ended up, like, I think on later albums. Four Wheel Drive I think was on A or something like
They're
that.
playing BTO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're using it as a sound check to play in BTO's video.
And then now you got me coughing. And then there's more sound check recordings, Conundrum again, Quatrain, the Dam Busters March again, but I thought that there was a rewrite. There's a different name to the drum solo. Okay, so it's called Conundrum, right, on the original release,
Okay.
and then it's called A Single Man on the live at Madison Square Garden. It's called A Single Man. So is it just the jam that they just kind of playfully renamed each time? Because it's still, I listened to it and it pretty much has the same guitar riffs and everything and the same drum solo. I don't know, maybe they decided to, since it wasn't an official song, they just name it something different. So I would suggest any Big Toll fan pay your 60, 65 bucks or whatever, get this, and I can't wait to really dive into it.
And listening to this album and digesting it for the last few weeks
Hmm.
is getting me back into Toll again. And I'm going to buy these box sets while I still can. And some of them are quite reasonable, particularly the Heavy Horses one, as we record this show in December of 2025. Heavy
Hmm.
Horses, I've been listening to on Spotify. And yeah, I'm really digging that period because back in the day, when we heard a lot of these songs on classic rock, we heard Bungle in the Jungle before, and whatever the single was at the time they had a new album.
Right.
You didn't hear anything off of Songs for the Wood or Heavy Horses or anything like
Oh,
that.
no, you
Actually, I should
didn't.
take that back. You heard Too Young to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. You
Right.
heard that often, but you didn't hear anything from the folk, the
Yeah.
more folk albums.
Yeah, when they had that kind of medieval sound, the folk, you could picture people kind of dancing, around a campfire kind of thing. Yeah, I'm with you, John. I didn't originally, when we were in our early 20s and all that stuff, and then we graduated from college, and I came back and lived with a bunch of guys in a big bachelor pad, and we were still listening to music all the time and playing music, and where I was in a band with some of the guys, and we listened to Toll a lot, but we did listen to Songs from the Wood, but Heavy Horses, I don't know. I didn't, no one had it on CD.
Mm.
And definitely no one had Stormwatch. And so later in life, in the last maybe 10 years, is when I've gotten into those albums. And I'm still getting into Heavy Horses. Um, I saw the Martin Barr Band twice.
Me
Uh,
too.
Oh my God. How good is that, John? How good are they, John? My
Oh,
God. I mean,
awesome.
yeah, I was blown away the first time, and second time they came last year, I think, and played at a place called City Winery, which has places all over the United States. And it's Martin Barr Band, and it's he's a legend on stage, and he's like 75, and he's telling jokes and being silly, and there was 220, 250 people in there, and I can't, and
Yeah.
it's like he's playing in front of 20,000, and now he's playing in front of 250, but he didn't care. I mean, how good was that? How good were those shows? I mean,
They were both very good. The first time I saw them, they played at Newton Theater in Newton, New Jersey. They did Aqualung in its entirety.
oh, I didn't get a chance to see that. No.
That was really, really cool. Both
Mm.
of those shows, though, they were playing a lot of his solo stuff,
Okay.
which is closer to the electric version of Jethro Tull. And
True. True.
they're really, really good songs. I got to dig deep into his solo stuff.
Yeah.
Both shows were excellent. But yeah, neither time, the second time I saw him at Penn Speak, there were 300 people there, and they it
Yeah.
was like 1,800.
Yeah.
But yeah, both shows were very, very good.
Oh yeah. That guy that was singing, doing Ian's part basically. I
Yes,
mean, he could really mimic Ian really well. He did the big eyes and all that. He had the
yes,
movement
he had
and
the
that
he had the
and that
voice and the stage presence.
yeah, oh, totally. And the drummer was just really, really good. I was really impressed with him. The bass player looked like is someone I think that had played with Martin for a while, and they were in sync. And I loved that first time I know they played To Cry You a Song, which I mentioned that when we were talking earlier.
Me too.
People were absolutely blown away when he played that. They didn't play that the second time. They played it that first time, and we saw him in front of like 200 people at a place called Smith's Old Bar, which is a really cool little small dive in Atlanta. And we went into it not know. I mean, we went into that show. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent about it, but
Oh,
I'm
good.
kind of having a flood of memories now about it. We knew it was going to be good. I mean, we're like, okay, Martin Barr Band. I mean, it's not going to be Toll, but I know they're going to play Toll. And but what songs are they going to play? And we were like, well, they'd probably play Locomotive Breath and stuff like that and Aqualung. But when they went in, when he hit that riff of that fade in riff of To Cry You a Song, I mean, we were all just like standing like this. I mean, just staring. And in this place, Smith's Old Bar, it's not the stage is only probably about 2.5 feet high. We were up close, and so we were standing probably about I don't know, 6 or 8 feet right in front of Martin and just watching him play. And then we were singing every word. And man, we walked out of that show. We were just flying. We were flying high. So we had to see him when he came back last year. And it was good. It wasn't, it was really good. It didn't have the magic of the first one, but it was still, nevertheless, it was a great show. And I always on chats and things like that if anybody's talking Toll, I'm always putting, you got to go see the Martin Barr Band. You got to go see him. You got to go see him. So that's cool that you saw him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they did Nothing Is Easy that night. They did
Yeah.
both those nights. The Cry You song they definitely played.
Well, the second time they did a song in this was supposed to be linked. The tangent was supposed to link it back to Heavy Horses. Acres Wild is like the second
Okay.
song on, and I just never, that song had never registered with me because I didn't have Heavy Horses. And they really brought that song to life on the last time I saw him. And that kind of got me back into, or got me diving into Heavy Horses. So I'm full in I love it. I think it's a great album.
You were mentioning you saw Jethro Tull twice.
I did, and look what I did. Okay. I went on Setlist FM.
Okay.
Okay, so November 22nd, 1989
Oh,
for
nice.
the
Rock Island.
yeah, for Rock Island. And it was at the Omni, which holds about 16. I remember kind of being disappointed. It was about three-quarters full. But Toll was kind of in that time, Crest of the Nave, had Farm on the Freeway, which is a great song. But and we had been listening to that, but I didn't really like that album much. I liked I liked Farm on the Freeway. I liked a couple other songs. It sounds cool, but it didn't quite catch me like the older stuff. So we when they came around for Rock Island, yeah, they played Thick as a Brick fourth, Black Satin Dancer, Cheap Day Return. He went into Mother Goose and we just flipped out. He started like teasing the audience with that long like do 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 that little acoustics. I mean, people were just loving it. They did Farm on the Freeway. Sea Lion. Is Sea Lion on? Oh, Sea Lion's on War Child, I think. Which is another album that, when I was showing you those CDs, I don't know why I never bought War Child. Um, it didn't register with me as much as the other ones, but it's good. Of course, it has, Skating Away and all that on there. Um, and they ended up with like the last three were Nothing Is Easy, Aqua Lung, and Wind Up. And so, you
Nice.
know, then came back for Catfish Rising, December 1st, 1991, at the Fabulous Fox, which holds about, just a very famous place, holds about 5,500, 6,000, and it was sold out. And they opened up with Minstrel in the Gallery. And
Ah, nice.
yeah, and I don't remember if it was probably an edited version. I just remember just loving it. And then they went into Cross-Eyed Mary, Living in the Past. So they started boom, boom, boom right there. And then they did some newer songs. They did the Whistler instrumental, which is cool. Mother Goose again, Thick as a Brick again. You got to play Thick as a Brick, right? A New Day Yesterday, Look into the Sun, which is a really cool acoustic, just a beautiful song on Stand Up. And Reasons for Waiting. Both of those songs on Stand Up are just like beautiful songs. And Farm on the Freeway, Jumps. I don't know what Jump Start is.
Jump
And
starts from
then,
Crest of a Knave.
okay, Chris is there. And then Aqualung, Locomotive Breath, Black Sunday, the Dam Busters March, which they do at the end of this of Bursting Out, and then Thick as a Brick reprise. So, and I didn't flip over for the end of that other show, Locomotive Breath, and that's what they ended with, and that's what Martin Barr band always ended with. I think was Locomotive Breath. So those are my two times. I'll never forget them, and we just so glad I got to see him.
I'm glad you got to see him too, especially when you still had Ian and Martin working together.
Right.
That's
Oh yeah.
awesome. Because Dave Ian's done a lot of touring with Jethro Tull in the last several years, but no
Yeah.
Martin there.
I know, and to me, I think you got to have them both. I think they're a team. They're a duo. I
They
think Jethro Tull has to have both of them.
no doubt
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, I unfortunately I never got to see Jethro Tull. Eh, The closest they
Yeah.
probably came, probably Bethlehem was the closest they came, which is within 2 hours. But no, I didn't get to see it. But Martin Barr, yeah, he's played Penn Speak a couple times and Newton Theater before,
Hmm.
and he's still out there touring pretty heavy.
I know, and
So
I mean, he's in good shape. I mean,
he
he's
is.
75 years old, isn't he?
I think he's close
Wow.
to it. I think he's more like 77, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
no, but no, he's still a beast on guitar, and yeah, he's in great shape. And on this
Did.
album, we got the great closers, of course. We got
Hmm.
Aqualung and the Locomotive Breath and the Dam Busters March, which goes into a reprise of
Right.
Locomotive Breath, which works very well. I'll tell
Hmm.
you what, for a great version of Locomotive Breath,
Yeah.
the version that's on here,
Hmm.
20 Years of Jethro Tull, there's a version from Germany in 82,
Ooh.
and it is sick.
Oh,
Wicked.
cool.
That and Aqualung are both from that same show in 82.
Hmm.
And that was Broadsword and the Beast. So they were going
Yes.
into a different direction musically by that point. Well, they had
Right.
started with the version of Locomotive Breath destroys them. I mean, I like the version on here, but
Hmm.
if I was to compare those two,
Yeah.
now I don't know how easy it is to find this anymore.
I know. I know. My friend that lives in Charleston, South Carolina now he's the one that had that CD, just like you, the single version. And oh God, we just played that so much. And I don't know. I feel like I don't remember. I think we were so enamored by the songs, like we were talking about Summer Day Sands and March the Mad Scientist, and some of those ones we didn't know very well or that were B-sides, or I don't know if I don't remember listening to Locomotive Breath. I'm gonna have to go back and I mean, it's on Spotify, right? So I can,
Right.
or is it? I mean, I don't know. I think yeah, it is.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to check.
I'm gonna look right now
I
while
have
we're
Pictures
here.
Promise on here. I didn't realize that was a single and not on.
Oh God, it's one of my favorites. Love that
Promise
song.
is killer.
I love it. Well, on Bursting Out though, I think that's a good version of Cross-Eyed Mary. I think they really bring that. I mean, that's another kind of recognizable song. It's not, I mean, it's a radio friendly song. It's only 3.5 minutes long. I don't know if I ever heard on 96 Rock, in Atlanta, which was the classic rock station for all the 70s and 80s and 90s. I don't remember hearing Cross-Eyed Mary. I don't know why they would not play that on the
They
radio.
still play Cross-Eyed Mary here.
Okay, yeah,
They always
the
play
radio stations
those
and
big three, those big three from Aqualung. They always play.
yeah, yeah. I'm
And we
seeing.
used to get him 43 for a long time too.
Oh, I love him 43 too. God, I mean, Aqualungs is so good. Hey, but they got Minstrel in the Gallery on Bursting Out, and it's an edited version, but
It is.
I mean, I think Minstrel in the Gallery is the heaviest they got. I mean, they have some heavy moments in a handful of songs, like like we were talking about with what's the No Lullaby and things like that. But man, Minstrel in the Gallery just has always blown me away. That's when I think my like it made the hair my hair stand up or something. Hearing Barrymore Barlow play the drums on that, I was like, oh my God, what is he doing? I mean, because I can usually picture what a drummer's doing if I'm just listening to it. Yeah, I mean Bonham and all that stuff, and even Neil Peart and all that stuff. You can kind of picture. I can't picture a lot of the times what Barry's doing. I cannot picture what he's doing. No lullaby in the middle, like in the 3 minutes in when they're going crazy in the middle of that. I mean, anybody, you don't have to be a fan of the drums. First of all, Martin's going crazy. Just it's blistering. It's just, but Barrymore Barlow's doing stuff. I mean, it sounds like he has like 8 arms. I
Yeah.
mean, what is he doing? I mean, it's just, oh my God, I could just listen to that all the time. But I'm glad Minstrel of the Gallery's on here. And what else is Quatrain that's an outtake from
From
Heavy
Aqualung.
Horses.
Oh,
Yeah.
from Heavy Horses. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it says an outtake from Heavy Horses. It's just like a little marching, dancing vibe. And then it abruptly ends and goes right into the down, 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 down. Is that one of the most identifiable riffs of all time?
Oh, yes, no doubt. Top
Yeah,
10 or 15 right there as
I
far as
know. Yeah, and I mistakenly wrote in my notes that it's a Les Paul. He didn't play a Les Paul. He played a hammer. And I'm not I'm a drummer. I know a lot I don't know a really lot about guitar, but it sounds like a Les Paul. That tone. Does it what other guitar player sounds like Martin Barr? I don't know.
no, he has a very distinctive tone.
Yeah.
Very, and the guitar players who have distinctive tones are the ones you always hear about,
Hmm.
but you don't hear about Martin Barr. But he
Is
is
it
very,
because he's just quiet? Is it his personality? Is it,
I think because he was very quiet and Ian was the
yeah.
leader. Ian Ian
Yeah.
was very philosophical and he gave wonderful he's a very intelligent
Oh
man.
yeah. Hmm.
You see in the music that he does. He gives a great interview, and I think it's just that I don't, and I think that might have been Martin's choice. I mean, I saw an
Hmm.
interview with Martin once on YouTube, and yeah, he's just very chill.
He is.
You know,
He's not yeah, he's not like a rock star. He's not like
rock star, you
yeah.
could go and say, "Oh, you do this great," and he'll be like, "Well, thank you." He just
I know.
very
He
quick.
doesn't take himself seriously, and you saw that when you saw the Martin Barr band. Like I said, he was up there joking around, just being like a almost acting like he had a rejuvenation of being like in college or something. I mean, it was infectious. I mean, we were all just like kind of going, man, he's just look at him up there. I mean, he's like a kid in a candy store. He's having so much fun. Um, I have a feeling what you're going to say here. Is the solo in Aqualung also one of the best solos ever laid down to tape? I mean, is it that solo? And he goes off on it live, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes off. Yeah, where he doesn't live, he goes into different directions on it. But
Mhm.
but he keeps the core of it there. I always
Yeah.
thought. But
Yeah.
if you're talking about the studio version, yeah, another one of those great solos you could sing. It's very, very lyrical.
Well, do you know there's a little bit of trivia tied to it. Zeppelin was recording Zeppelin 4 in the same studio.
Okay.
And Jimmy Page apparently was walking by taking a break and he heard Martin Barre doing the solo and he stopped and he went in and I don't know if he didn't interrupt him, of course. He came in and because he heard that solo being played and it caught his ear and he said, I got to go see who this guy is. And I know they toured together, so maybe actually that he did know who he was because I think they toured together a little
I
bit
thought they
because
toured early on, but I thought they toured before the fourth album.
yeah, they did. They toured during maybe benefit and stand up. And I don't know if Zeppelin didn't they call him Jethro Tull? I think they called him famously either Robert Plant or something called him Jethro
I
Tull,
think that might have
which
been more a
is
critic in Rolling Stone.
oh, okay, maybe it was okay, but anyway, I know with the Aqualung solo, Jimmy Page was very enamored with it, and he heard it, and he's like that. This is one of the most badass solos I've ever heard in my life. So, oh yeah.
It certainly is, no doubt about it. There's a lot of great moments, great songs on this album.
Hmm.
This is
Totally.
Bursting Out by Jethro Tull. So, Webb, how would you
Yeah.
rank this live album on a scale of 1 to 10?
On a scale of 1 to 10, and considering that I've been a Jethro Tull fan since probably 1987, so what are we talking? 13 and 25, 38 years.
Yes,
Um, and I didn't really listen to Bursting Out until recently. Um, I would say it's a 9 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Like it, we agree that the little flute solo section it'd be a 10 if they switch that out with something else like Cry You a Song or I mean there's so many they could choose from, right? And I will say though the inflated version, the Steven Wilson remix, it does give it a little more life. It gets it a little cleaner, a little crisper. Maybe some of the levels are, some of the mix is a little better. It just gives it a little more vitality and it adds a few extra songs. And I would give this, I mean, it's hard for me to give anything a 10. I'd give this a 9.5 and I'd give the original version a 9. And any Toll fan, I would recommend you gotta do yourself a favor and listen to Bursting Out.
excellent.
Yeah.
I would give this an 8.5 for much the
Okay.
same reasons that you did.
Yeah.
I can do without the flute improvisation on here. I do like that they touch all the eras, and I do like Conundrum. That gives
Mhm.
it that's a heavy instrumental where
Yeah.
Barrymore gets to show off. I do like the version Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, because then we get a sax solo in there. Dave
Yes.
Palmer.
Marlon wouldn't like it.
Oh, yes, he certainly would. He'd love it. Yes. I love the version of Thick as a Brick in its abbreviated version. The heavy part of it is scintillating. It is
Oh God, yeah.
um Quatrain, like that's just a short instrumental. I
Hmm.
mean, as good as it is, I could do without that. I would have liked a longer version of New Day Yesterday,
Yeah.
definitely. Everything else I really like. Even Sweet Dream wasn't on a proper album; it was just a single, but it works
Hmm.
perfectly within the scope of the show. They're
Yeah.
hitting all the high notes. I mean, maybe they're not hitting all the big hits, but that's okay because you still got plenty here to
Oh
dance.
yeah.
And you got the most enduring songs, I would think. I think Skating Away has endured a little better than Bungle in the Jungle, even though Bungle in the Jungle was the bigger hit. But Skating Away, I
Oh.
think, is the one that's had more life to it.
I think it has because it's just such a unique song. It's just so cool.
Absolutely. So for me, it would be an 8.5. So, all of you out there, what do you think of this album, Jethro Tull Live Bursting Out? What do you think of Jethro Tull's music? What are your favorite songs? What are your favorite albums by Jethro Tull? They have a ton of them. Have you ever seen Jethro Tull live? Is Ian Anderson one of the most thoughtful, eclectic songwriters that you know of? Is Martin Barre one of the most unheralded guitar players that you know of, who's written a lot of memorable riffs? Please let us know in the comments what you think of Jethro Tull bursting out. Webb, thank you so much for joining me today and turning me on to this live album that doesn't get enough love or recognition. Jethro Tull bursting out. Here we go.
John, it was a pleasure to be on. We could probably sit here for another hour and talk about Toll. And I mean, I would do it. And thanks for having me on. And everybody out there, get it. And I look forward, maybe I can join you again for one of these shows.
Oh, well, that's coming. You know that. So,
Cool.
what do you have coming up on Grant's Rock Warehouse or Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza?
Uh, I don't, not too busy coming up. We're doing the ELO series with Grant and Marco and the Parish of Rock. We've been going through the whole, I didn't join them until about midway with Fire on High, Face the Music and New World Record, which I said I got to come on because I love those. And so I've been on them ever since. Now we're getting into the ELO2 stuff, and
Okay.
we're all kind of like, none of us really, I don't know. We're going to talk about it and we're going to, see what we think and be honest about it. But I got that coming up, I think it might have been postponed, but it was going to be the 17th. I just did a Styx best songs on Slogans rock and yeah last Saturday, and he's going to have me back on eventually for something. And then I think Grant's trying to do schedule a one and done with a Southern rock. Now, this is going to be in January, so the rest of the year is not too much. But Fort Knox, Fort Knox is like a Southern rock. Oh, are we gonna do that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of people on that email. So cool.
Yep, I'm
Yeah.
on that too. Well, I agreed to it. I checked it out. I'm like, oh God, I could do this.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. I mean, I've been trying to talk Grant into a Southern, so if he watches this, a Southern rock series, because I've been in Atlanta my whole life, and not there's so many good Southern rock bands from the 70s and 80s that not the big three or four or five. And so I keep trying to persuade him into it, and he's like, we'll do it some other time. So one of these days, 2026 will be the time.
Oh yeah. That'll
Yeah.
be in January 2026. So be on the lookout on Grant's Rock Warehouse for that one. Thank you
Mhm.
all so much for joining us today. Do what you love, and we'll talk to you soon.